Imagine a world where money is no longer controlled by governments, where banks are no longer needed to send or receive payments, where a line of computer code can be worth millions of dollars. Welcome to the world of cryptocurrency. Over the last decade, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have gone from being the hobby of anonymous coders to global financial disruptors. In this video, we dive deep into the story of how cryptocurrency became so powerful and how Bitcoin, the very first digital coin, gained its astronomical value. This is not just a story of technology, it's a story of rebellion, ideology, fear, freedom, and fortune. Let's start from the beginning. To understand how cryptocurrency became powerful, we must first look at where it came from. The idea of digital currency was born out of a movement called cypherpunk. In the 1980s and 1990s, a group of privacy-focused cryptographers believed that governments should not control people's money or data. They envisioned a future where people could make digital payments anonymously, free from surveillance and control. But it wasn't until 2008, in the aftermath of the global financial crisis, that a mysterious figure under the name Satoshi Nakamoto published a white paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It wasn't just a proposal for a new kind of currency, it was a challenge to the global financial system. People were angry at banks, angry at bailouts, angry at a system that had collapsed under greed. And here was Bitcoin, decentralized, trustless, and borderless. Traditional money needs a central authority like a bank to validate and secure transactions. Bitcoin replaced that trust with maths. It uses something called blockchain, a public, decentralized ledger that records every transaction in a chain of blocks. Every user on the network can verify every transaction. No one can cheat the system. No one can manipulate it. That made it revolutionary. But early on, people were skeptical. Why would anyone trust a new form of money created by an anonymous coder? Why would anyone buy Bitcoin when it wasn't backed by gold or government guarantees? At first, one Bitcoin was worth less than a cent, but that was about to change. On May 22, 2010, a programmer named Laszlo Hanias paid 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas. At the time, those Bitcoins were worth around $41. Today, those same coins would be worth hundreds of millions. That transaction became legendary, not just because of the price, but because it proved that Bitcoin could be used in the real world. It had moved from a theoretical idea to a functioning currency. People started to pay attention. Soon after, online forums began buzzing with discussions. Developers started building tools and wallets. Exchanges like Mt. Gox appeared, allowing users to trade Bitcoin for dollars. The value slowly climbed, and by 2011, Bitcoin reached $1 for the first time. But not all attention was good. Bitcoin's anonymity made it attractive to criminals. In 2011, a hidden website called Silk Road launched on the dark web, allowing people to buy and sell illegal drugs using Bitcoin. The FBI eventually shut it down in 2013, but by then, Bitcoin had gained a new reputation: digital cash for outlaws. This created a strange paradox. On one hand, Bitcoin was being used for illegal activities. On the other, its price continued to rise. Investors began to see it not just as money, but as digital gold, a scarce, valuable asset that could store wealth, immune to inflation and political manipulation. One of Bitcoin's most powerful features is its built-in scarcity. Unlike fiat currency, which governments can print endlessly, there will only be ever 21 million Bitcoins. This finite supply makes it similar to gold. As demand increases and supply remains fixed, the price goes up. This scarcity is enforced by something called halving. Every 4 years, the reward for mining new Bitcoins is cut in half. This slows down the creation of new coins, making them even rarer. Investors started calling it the halving cycle, and they began speculating around it like gold rushes. But there's another layer to this story. It's not just scarcity that gives Bitcoin value, it's belief. Bitcoin is like religion. It has believers, evangelists, even enemies. The more people believe in it, the more powerful it becomes. Early adopters held on it despite crashes. They preached on Twitter and Reddit. They created communities. They weren't just holding Bitcoin, they were holding a vision of the future. This growing community increased trust. Trust led to adoption. Adoption led to price growth. Price growth brought media attention, and the media brought in more people. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. As Bitcoin became more popular, governments started paying attention. Some embraced it, others feared it. Countries like China banned Bitcoin mining. Others, like El Salvador, adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. But the core issue remained the same. Bitcoin was taking away the power of central banks. It allows people to move money without permission. It avoids sanctions. It hides wealth. For authoritarian regimes, this is terrifying. For citizens under oppressive systems, it's liberating. This duality is what makes cryptocurrency so controversial and so powerful. By 2020, things had changed dramatically. Big institutions like Tesla, PayPal, and even banks like JP Morgan started supporting or investing in Bitcoin. Payment apps allowed users to buy crypto with one click. Hedge funds began adding it to portfolios as a hedge against inflation. The price skyrocketed past 60,000 US dollars. Celebrities endorsed it, ads played during the Super Bowl. Bitcoin was no longer a niche project, it was a global phenomenon. Even skeptical economists began to accept that Bitcoin was here to stay, even if they didn't like it. Bitcoin's rise inspired the creation of thousands of other cryptocurrencies. Ethereum introduced smart contracts. Binance Coin powered a global exchange. Dogecoin became a meme, then a movement. Suddenly, Bitcoin wasn't alone. These altcoins created a massive ecosystem. Crypto was no longer just digital money, it was a new kind of internet. Decentralized finance, NFTs, metaverse tokens, all powered by crypto. A digital revolution had begun, and Bitcoin was its father. But it wasn't smooth sailing. Bitcoin had crashed multiple times, sometimes losing over 80% of its value. Every time people called it dead, and yet it kept coming back stronger. Why? Because each crash shook out the speculators, and each rise brought in stronger hands. The technology improved, regulations evolved, infrastructure matured. What remained was not just a digital coin, but an entire movement. These cycles taught people a lesson. Bitcoin is volatile, yes, but it's resilient. That resilience is a form of power.